It was first discovered 15 years ago, but it was kept a secret to preserve the... It was first discovered 15 years ago, but it was kept a secret to preserve the beauty of the Kartchner Caverns, and it worked. The caverns are now going to become a state park.
Today, our Rick DEBRUHL and photographer Howard Shepard had a chance to do something very few people have ever done, to go down into the Karchner Caverns. And thanks to Skylink 12, they're going to take us along on their tour. Rick.
It's pretty spectacular. You know, it's just southwest of Benson, and this is the opening to the cavern right here behind me. When Randy TUFTS and Gary TENEN first found it back in 1974, they kept it a secret for 15 years. Very simply, they were afraid that vandals would come and destroy part of the cavern. They were afraid that the treasure would be lost, and having spent a few hours in it this morning, I can understand why.
We started our adventure just after 5 o'clock this morning. There is a ladder now to take you down the first 15 feet, but after that it is all rock, and you quickly learn why it took so long to discover the caverns. To get in, you have to crawl through spaces barely large enough for a person to fit.
Well, this is the spot.
Although a new opening has been made, this is the hole that Gary TENEN and Randy TUFTS originally chipped away and crawled through back in 1974.
We knew we were finding something. We had no idea what it was going to turn out to be. We had never really found anything before this, and so anything would have been a major find for us, but what this turned into was just boggling.
What they had found was the beginning of more than 2 miles of passageways. But perhaps more important, those passageways led to a living cavern, a cavern that is still growing and forming, just as it has for thousands of years.
Well, of course, this whole mass of, this is all one formation. It's just taken tens of thousands of years. But this clunk right here, this hunk, can easily be 10,000 years forming.
And as you stand in it, what amazes you is its size, and that everywhere you turn is something more spectacular than you saw before. The one thing you can't see is how moist it is inside this cave, and some parts, like this section, are muddy and incredibly slick. When Gary and Randy found it 15 years ago, they swore themselves to secrecy, afraid that if word got out, vandals would destroy the treasure.
We were prepared to keep the secret for absolutely forever. We knew we had to come up with some permanent plan of protection, and if we ever let the word out of where this cave was, it would eventually get trashed. It's too close to population centers, and it's too close to the road.
Today the work has started on their dream. Very few people still get to enter the cave, and experiments are underway to help understand the cave, so we won't destroy it.
You just want to leave it as a pristine cave. If we expect this cave to be as beautiful 100 years from now for our grandchildren to see it in this condition, we have to really keep it in this condition with the humidity and the temperature the way it is.
Hopefully this will open up as a state park in about 3 or 4 years. And the two men who discovered the cave, Randy TUFTS and Gary TENEN, say they have to owe a special thanks to the Karchner family. They own the property that this is located on, and they really made it possible for all this to become a state park.
Rick, it was obviously very dark down there. You had television lights. Would you have been able to see anything without the TV lights?
No, as a matter of fact, it is so dark there is no light whatsoever. If you were to turn out all the lights and put your hand that close to your nose, you would never see it. You can't adjust to the darkness.
And what about the way things sound? Is it deathly still underground?
I'm sorry, I can just barely hear you. You can hear little drips of water. Yeah. That's about all you can hear every now and then. And you can hear each other walking and breathing, and that's it.
Ooh, that's incredible.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you, Rick.
Thanks.
Well, with the air the way it is inside a